Outtakes. Dude, that thing was fun. Hey guys, what's up? This is Park. Welcome back to the vlog. Today, I have a very, very cool guy here with me, or I'm here with him. I don't know, we're both here together. We're here together. Yeah, we both work here. This is our office kind of thing. And we just wanted to take this time because I've been trying to record with Kayla for a long time.
Yeah, it's been like, I think we talk about it like on and off for probably like the past 6 months.
Then, like every other day, like, what's up with the vlog?
Like, yeah, we need to get on the vlog, we need to do something.
Yeah, and I just think it's really cool because we want to do some projects together, you know, because we work here at church production. You know, we want to talk about church production. There's so many things that we're learning together, and some things that he's learned and that I've learned. And I just think it's a very, very big space. You know, a lot of people who are working in church or doing volunteer or doing ministry, you know, they just want to come in and learn how to, like, I love seeing other churches and other places and see how they do things.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's like the biggest or the smallest or if it's like super technical. I just want to go in and be like, okay, how do you do what you do? You know?
That's what I do every time. Like if like I'm trying to think of new ideas or think of like if there's something that I'm working on or something I want to work on, it's like I go to like I look up other churches. Doesn't matter if they have like 1,000 followers or if they're like a brand new church that's doing something small. I feel like there's like, if you're open to getting ideas from anything, you're gonna get a lot more ideas instead of being like, oh, what's Elevation gonna do? What's Hillsong doing? If you're like, hey, what's the church down the street doing?
Yeah.
And like, dude, that works, and they're killing it at that. And like, also like adapting things from what that church is doing and making it your own. So like, not just seeing something and being like, oh, they're doing that, so I'm gonna do that exact thing, but being like, they're doing that and it works for them because of this. And so that core reason is like, that's where the creative thing comes from.
How can you translate it to what we do?
So for us, it's like, for me, it's like if I see a church that's, I can't think of something specific, but if I see them doing something, I'm like, dude, I like that. I like the energy. I like that vibe. I like whatever that is. I'm like, okay, why do I like that? What is it about that? Do I like that? Oh, it's a deeper meaning. It has something behind it. So I'm like, okay, I like things that have deeper meanings. And then there's something that I think you told me a while ago that like, you're not like, your opinion isn't a singular thing. Like if you like something, someone else is down to like something.
Right.
And so at a certain point, it's like, don't create to create for other people. Create something that you're like, I like that. Because then someone else is gonna like it and they're gonna be able to see it. And so for me, it's like if I see someone else doing something and I'm like, okay, I like that. I like that because of this reason. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna create with that reason in mind. So I'm gonna set this audio thing up this way. I'm gonna set up this shot this way because I liked that feeling. I like that emotion that they were conveying with that thing.
Right. And that's true. You know, it's something that I learned a couple years ago. I think I read it or saw a video. And it's a very it's a crazy statement that says you're not that special.
Yeah.
But when you dig deeper, that's just like the catcher, right? The clickbait. Because we're not that special. And like, if I like something, out of the 7 billion people in the world, like a couple thousand like the things that I like. So when you create for yourself, one, you're more motivated, you're more engaged, you're passionate, and you have energy because you don't get bored, you know? So you create something for you, and then all the audience will follow.
Yeah.
But let's take it back. Let's take it back to the beginning. Caleb, I met you when, like a year ago?
Yeah.
2 years ago.
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half ago. And tell us about how you got to this church, or how you were introduced to here. How did
So for me, my journey was a little bit different than most people. I feel like are in production or like in this kind of thing. Because I feel like a lot of people like start out with like a huge passion for it, and you're like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. For me, I started off on the worship team, and I was already creative in that aspect, like in the musical aspect.
What do you do in music?
I play guitar, I sing a little bit. Most of those things I do, I know a little bit of like keys and like a tiny bit of drums, but not like a lot. Right. And so that's like what I did before. And then one day, one of the pastors here was like, hey, like, you should learn how to do sound because we want you to do sound. And I was like, okay, sure. And so then I started learning that, and he was like, cool, let's teach you how to do this and teach you how to do that and teach you how to do this. And like, for me, it was just having that, like being open to be molded.
Right.
Like just being like, there's a whole, like an old saying that I try to live by. It's like, be like water. Because like water doesn't take a shape, water's willing to be formed. And so for me, that's what I try to live like. even if I know how to do something, if someone else shows me another way to do it, I'm like receptive to that.
Right.
And so for me, that was my process. Like about a year ago, I didn't know how to do anything that I know how to do now. And now it's like I can set up a whole audio system. I can run a conference. If they're like, hey, we need you to go do a shoot here, record all the videos and bring it back for us to export. I'm like, okay, cool. I know what that means. A year ago, I had no idea where to even start with any of it.
So the things that you learned besides, you had music background?
Yeah.
So in this process, you learned photography, video, some editing?
Yeah. Photography, video, a little bit of videography.
Some graphic design?
Graphic design, audio tech,
audio editing?
Audio editing, yeah.
It's
like just a bunch of that stuff.
And in the creative process, because I like to just share about the creative processes, right? Mm-hmm. What is it? Because I know, and I call them the rock stars, you already know. Yeah. What is that process of like, you were doing music. And I know for a musician, when that's your world, you're like, don't tell me to do none. Yeah. And not because you don't want to, but because like this is my passion.
That's your
my passion. I want to be, and your brain takes you to all these places. But what was the process internally? Not technical. Of like going like, oh dude, cool, you play music. Go behind the board and run it for the musicians. What was it?
I feel like for me, like not to make it too spiritual, but for me it was like I always had that drive and that calling that like no matter what I do, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for God, for one, and I'm doing it to help someone else. So if I was like, it's worship, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna bear my heart out while I'm on the stage. So if there's any dude in the crowd that feels like, oh dude, I'm uncomfortable, like lifting my hands, you're like, okay, that guy is like, he's going wild.
Right.
So if I give 1/10 of that and lift my hands, I'm gonna be good. And so for me, my mentality was always like, what can I do to edify the house? And what can I do for others to help them edify the house? And so for me, it was like a natural progression from going from worship to being behind the scenes and like being like, okay, like I can help the worship team like worship. I can help them like produce their best for the people in the congregation. I can help our church put out videos, put out whatever it is so we can reach more people. And in that way for me, it was like, okay, like this is the next step that's how I felt. This is the next step for me to like fulfilling that drive and that need to like, I want to do for others and I want to do for God.
Yeah. So, that's cool. And how do you discover, I mean, going back again, how do you discover that you had this talent, because there's always, I mean, music, specifically music, you started with that.
Yeah.
So when in your life did you say, oh, I want to start playing and I have actual talent?
What did I say? I don't know why in my life, I didn't choose that either.
Right.
One day my dad walked in to me and my brother's room and he had this red, this red guitar. And then he handed it to me and my brother. None of us knew how to play the guitar. Handed it to me and my brother and he was like, I want both of you to learn how to play guitar. Here's a music book.
Oh.
Go figure it out. And I was like, oh, okay, like good morning to you. How are you? He was like, here you go, like figure it out. He spent like a couple $100 on it. He was like, you guys gonna learn how to play guitar.
He had a vision. I mean,
he had a vision. He was like, I don't know what y'all gonna do it.
Does he know how to play?
Yeah, he knew how to play guitar, but he can teach us. He was just like, you gotta learn. You guys figure it out. And so me and my brother like took turns going through the music. Like the first time he gave it to us, we just threw away the book. We were like, this is dumb. Like, I can do it. And then like years later, we both started like learning a little bit. I learned like 2 chords maybe in middle school, and I was like, I'm done.
Did you actually use the book?
No.
You just learned?
I learned it like, yeah. I think my brother learned, and then he would always teach me. So I gave him the book, he would learn it, and he'd teach it to me. And then, so middle school, I was like, I'm not doing that. High school, I started playing guitar more, so I was trying to impress girls. Okay. And so I was like, girls like, you can't take this one. I was like, that was the whole reason. Yeah. I was like, girls like guys that play acoustic guitar. And so I was like, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna be like the next Ed Sheeran, I'm gonna be John Mayer, I'm gonna be all of that. And so that's why I was like, I'm gonna do it. And so I learned how to play guitar more, and then I came into church. And I was like, I play guitar, but not at that level. And then it just kind of kept on like getting pushed and pushed and pushed until eventually I tried out for the worship team, and then
and you were in.
And I was in.
Okay, now tough question. It just came to mind. Tough question. At one point, you joined the video team. You were there for like 1 day. what was that? What was that about?
I feel like there was a time where I feel like I vaguely remember, but I feel like it was me going through. I feel like everyone goes through that thing where they're in a bit of like an identity crisis.
Okay.
And I feel like people going through identity crisis at church looks a little bit different because then for them it's like a lot of people form who they are around where they serve.
Okay.
You know, and like a lot of times we identify. Oh, it's Oscar the Usher. You know, and like that's like, boom, no, that's his world,
right?
And so like, yeah, you're an usher, yeah, you're a PPA, you work in the cafe, you're a greeter, like that's it. Yeah, and so I feel like when people like, a lot of times people will be doing that for so long, and then they'll snap out and they'll be like, what am I? Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Am I just an usher?
Exactly. Am I just an usher? Can I like? Let me go be a janitor. Let me go do this. And so I feel like a lot of people go through that.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a healthy thing to go through too.
Yeah.
At certain times, like. Because then it pushes you to like look for what you want to do, or what you're called to do. Because I feel like if you go into a ministry that God wants you to be in, He's gonna give you a certain kind of like peace and like, hey, this is where you're supposed to be, and like, you know. And so for me, getting back to the question, for me it was just like I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know where.
And that time you were in the worship team.
Nah, I was in the worship team. I think I was just doing youth. Okay. And so I was just like, you know, I'll do anything. I think there was a certain point where I was doing cafe. I was doing greeting. I was doing worship team. Did I say youth already?
You say youth?
Yeah, I was doing cafe. Yeah,
cafe greeting.
And so I was doing all those like at the same time.
Right.
And
you were trying things out.
I was trying everything. I was like any ministry that I did security. Okay. Like any ministry that had an available opening, I was like, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna like see what it's about. I'm gonna do it. And so yeah.
But I think that's awesome because sometimes people come in with a mentality, like you said, Oscar the Usher, you know? I don't know if that is. But
it's some
guy.
Oscar the Usher.
Not Oscar, but like some other Oscar. Yeah. Like they come in and they know, oh, this is what I am, this is what I'm called for. Yes, because you have the, you know, but God calls us to ministry.
Yeah.
God calls us to serve. He doesn't call us to like one place.
Yeah.
And it's cool that you were saying that because I reflect myself in you a lot because I did worship all my life. You know, I grew up in worship, so I was in elementary school, and I played in this church. I played in the worship team for 4 years, and then it was like, oh well, I learned editing, and now my job is my full life, and I cannot envision myself doing anything else. So it's like sometimes people they're in their ministry right now or in their work area or whatever they're doing, and you think that that's it, but it's like you were saying, it's like, dude, you tried out all these things, and then you found your passion in music. And now, like, your job is not even in music, but it is in music. You know, it's tech and it's all these things. So it's like you always have to leave the door open and be like you said, be like water. Because when you come in with a strong mentality of like, this is the only thing that I do. I mean, I don't think it's good.
Yeah, like if you come in, it's like this is the only thing I do. Then that's the only thing you do. Like for me, it's like that's it. Like it's like what you call like you're in a way you're limiting like God, right? Because then like if you're like God, like. Forget everything else. Like this is the only thing. Like I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna narrow down. Like at a certain point, focus in, but like be like God. Like even if I've been doing this ministry for like 10 years, like what more do you want me to do?
What's next?
You know? Because like one day, imagine like, dude, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna become the head of ministry. God's like, cool. I want you to be an usher for like a year. And then you're like, God, I'm not gonna do that. And He's like, why? Do you not want to serve? You know what I mean? So it's like, it's like, yeah, we can like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that, but God's like, nah, I want you here.
And I think throughout the years, and we've been through this the last year together as a team, because for years I've already been head of ministry, right? And I've been supervisor at work and everything. And then we started a new campus, a downtown campus, and we started that together. And he just brought us back down to like, oh, we're setting up chairs.
Yeah.
We're opening the building, we're cleaning up. And that was for a full year. And I think going through those transitions, I think one thing is when God has to drag you into it. Yeah. But one thing is when you willingly do it. Because we didn't have to. We had to produce a job, you know, we had to do something. But talk about that experience of like, okay, you're running a ministry. Yeah. And then, okay, Caleb, now you get the keys, you load the van, you drive the van, you set up chairs, and you clean up alone. Yeah. Like, what is that like in ministry?
At first, for me, it felt like, if we're being real, I was like, dude, this is humiliating.
Right.
I was like, Sunday, so throughout the week, it'd be Sunday to Wednesday, I'm the head of a ministry, right? I'm like, hey, I have my team, like, I'm chilling. And then Thursday comes in, it's like, nah, you're at the bottom right now. You have to come in.
You're loading chairs.
You're loading chairs. You're gonna get sweaty. I had to bring a change of clothes every Thursday because I was like, dude, whatever I'm wearing is gonna get sweaty. You're loading chairs. You're setting up You're setting up all the equipment, running all the cable, and at the end of the time you're breaking down. And for the first couple like months, it was just me. Yeah. Like before they just like built that team, and it was like it took me a little bit, and I got it, and I was like, dude, like if I had to do this forever, and one person got saved a year, it'd be worth it.
Right.
You know, like that's the I had to be like, dude, no matter like. It got to me like no matter what it is that I have to do, if God is like, Caleb, this is where I want you, I'm like, dude, like, even if I'm like, dude, I have to grind my teeth and like I don't want to set up. No one wants to set up chairs.
Right.
Like no one is like, dude, chairs are my passion.
All the way from like loading to
like all the way to loading, setting up, like doing all that.
Breaking down.
Like I was there and I'm like, dude,
and it's a lot.
I had to get there sometimes by 12.
Yeah.
I didn't leave till 10.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, like I was beat and I was like, I worked the next day, but it was like. It got to the point where like I was so one time I was so angry, I was like, I don't know, I have to do this, I don't get it. And then I overheard someone be like, oh, like it was my first time and I loved service. And I was like, all right, guys. Like I was like, okay.
And it always brings
that moment. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like this is why God, when it's like God doesn't bring you down just to keep you down, He brings you down to like show you something that like you missed. And so like for me going back on Sunday, it was like that same mentality where I was like, dude, like I'll run cable. Like if no one on my team is gonna do it, like I'll do it. I'll run cable. I'll set up the chairs. Like I'll do whatever it takes for that one person.
And that was gonna be my next question. Like in these times when you do something beyond what you normally do, then you get stretched.
Yeah.
So how do you feel when you came back from that era? Because we're not doing that anymore. Like us team, there's already a team now who's running all these things. But it's like, how do you come back to your normal, like being stretched like that? What is the other new things or other things that you have?
Yeah, capacity? I feel like because stretching doesn't, like you don't stay there. You stretch and you expand your capacity.
Yeah.
I feel like before I get into the question, I feel like the pitfall a lot of people get into is like they stretch and they're like a rubber band. So they stretch out, like God is stretching them, they go through the stretching process, and when He lets go, they come back into the little place. Yeah. And so you're like, dude, God keeps stretching me because you didn't stay. Like you didn't stay there, you know? So for me, it was like once I got stretched, I was like, okay. Like if God gives me that Thursday back, I'm like, okay, that Thursday isn't just gonna be like, cool, now I have a day off. It's like, okay, like I gotta like take it into the next year. Because I believe like if you work and you get to a place where you're like, okay, like we're comfortable, I feel like that's not a stopping point, that's a launching point. Yeah. Like when the ground is flat, that's when you take off. You know what I mean? And so I was like, okay,
stretching, and then you go from there.
You go stretching, and then that's where you're starting now. That's not like, okay, I reached my peak. That's like, okay, God stretched me. He opened my capacity. This is a new beginning, kind of thing. So I was like, okay, God stretched me. Yeah. God opened me. I learned how to I had to figure out how to set up a whole system in under an hour, and I did it. And so I was like, dude, if God opened me up, and I was able to do that, I'm like, okay, what can I bring from that experience here?
So from that, literally, I mean, technically. Whatever there's a new campus, you can really go with the equipment yourself, set up a full campus, run it, and break it down on your own in an hour.
Yeah, and that wasn't something like before I started doing that. That wasn't something I knew how to do.
Right.
I remember the first 2 times Pastor A went with me, and he explained, hey, this is what an XLR is. This is what this cable is.
You learned everything on
I learned everything on it. He was like, okay, go plug this in, go plug that in. And we're like, cool. In 3 weeks, it's gonna be you doing it. And I was like. You know? And then after that, it was like, he was like, okay, you got it. Like, he'd be like, hey, make sure everything's set up. I'm like, oh, cool, everything's already set up. Like, we're ready to go. Yeah. And so for me, it's like that. Like, okay, cool. Like, I know how to do that now. What else can I, what can I build off of that?
Right.
And so, yeah.
That's cool. And just, kind of getting to the end, speaking of stretching and all that, how do you feel now in this time of quarantine? This time that we fully had to reinvent, because there was elements of online campuses. Yeah. But our entire church world and weekdays, it all became online. Yeah. And how does this season stretch you, and how do you foresee when the world reopens, you know, how do you foresee you in ministry and in your job and in the personal? How does this stretch you?
I feel like this season stretched me and all of us, because it's forcing everyone to rethink how we communicate, and rethink what engagement is, and rethink what essential is.
Right.
You know, because it's hey, what actually is essential right now? You know, you go outside and you see a store and that's not essential.
Right.
For us, it's you're dude, literally, whatever that's not essential. Like Forever 21, that's not essential. You know, so it's like no, it's closed.
For all the girls out there.
Yeah, for all the girls out like Sephora closed.
Not essential.
Not essential. And so for me, it's like, what is essential? Like here for me. So it's like it's focusing my energy and being like, what's essential, and then like working down. Be like, okay, like what is essential and what wasn't in place.
Right.
You know, like what is something that now is a need that I didn't think was a need.
Right.
And being like, okay, like when we come back, like when everything reopens, it's like that can't fall back into the wayside, you know?
Yeah.
Like the things that like are essentials currently that we didn't think about as essentials can't go back into that space of being unknown.
And you don't want like the rubber band. You don't want it. We come back, we open church, and we miss all these things. That we
like we're like, okay, cool, we're done with that. We're done with that. We're done with that. Like posting weekly videos, like, okay, cool. Like we're here. We don't need. You know what I mean? So like for me, it's like that mentality. Like once we go back, we can't go back.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like once we reopen, we can't go back. It's like, okay, we're gonna.
Once we're back, you can't go back.
Once we're back, we can't go back. You know what I'm saying?
Hashtag.
You know, hashtag it. That's it. Once we go back, we can't go back.
That's good.
But like,
that's a t-shirt right
That's a t-shirt.
It's a t-shirt.
Watch out. It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
2021, because we can't.
We can't open it.
And just to close, what are, because I know you got a lot of talents, and production and music is just like a few scope, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I know you dance. I've seen you dance.
Yeah.
You dance. You do you draw?
A little bit.
A little bit. I mean, you do all the things.
Yeah.
So what? I mean, in your mind, what are some projects that you would want to do, like in the future, as far as you?
In far as me,
Caleb, like creatively.
Creatively, something that I want to work on is I want to come out with like, I want to write more music with Nicole, my girlfriend. I want us to do like more stuff together. Shout out to Nicole.
Girlfriend collaborations.
I want to do more music with her and like record. So she has an awesome voice, and like I want to record it. I'm gonna make more. Like me and Josh have a bunch of songs, my brother.
Right.
So I want to like do those more. Personally, for me, something that I used to do that I don't do anymore is like I want to get back into is I used to do parkour.
Parkour?
Yeah. I used to do like a lot of parkour, and like that's something that I want to get back into. Cause I'm like,
once I can ever find you.
Yeah. That's something I want to get back to. Besides that, I just want to like creative things in general. Like I like being creative, so like
in general. What about any Facebook Lives, Instagram Lives?
I'm thinking about it. I want to do some Facebook Live stuff.
IG Live, IGTV,
Facebook Lives, IG Live. I want to do some stuff like that. I'm still trying to think. I might have a YouTube channel out soon.
Sweet.
I might with Nicole.
Nice.
So like, there's a lot of stuff I'm thinking about. There's always a lot of stuff I feel like I'm in the process of.
Right.
I just need to work on like completing.
Because
there's thousands.
Watch my old videos so you can see.
There's like thousands of like half completed projects like in my head on paper. Like I'll start something and I'll stop. There's like 50 songs probably me and Josh worked on. They were like, cool, like we're done.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And so
I want to hear those. Yeah.
For me, that's just completing stuff.
Completing stuff. Okay. Well, that's a good takeaway. For whoever's watching. Like you can be creative, you can do all these things, and there's always other things that you want to do, and it's fine to have incomplete projects. But like out of that, like 1 or 2 a year.
Yeah.
Come through. And do that. And I think it's gonna be cool. Like I would want to see your blog. I want to see whatever content you do. It's dope, and hopefully we collaborate more. Do some t-shirts. When you're back, you can't go back.
No, you're back.
What is it?
When we go back,
you can't go back. That's it. Well, that's it. Well, thank you guys for watching. This is Caleb. Follow him on Instagram. I'll put his little ad right here. How do you call it? Your handle? I'll put your ad here. Upcoming YouTube channel by him and Nicole, probably. Hopefully 2020. Yeah, you got the time.
We have time.
Yeah, you got the time. So let's do it. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.